Hello, welcome back to Addicted to Recovery, the podcast bringing you the truth about addiction. My name's Christopher White. As ever, I am joined by my dear friend, co-host and fellow recovering addict, Max Thomas. How are you today, my brother?
Yeah, had a good day, mate, haven't we?
We've had a lovely day.
It's been nice.
Yeah, mate. The sun came out this morning and
Spring has sprung, right?
spring has sprung. Unofficially, spring has sprung. And it feels good, doesn't it? What a long, hard winter.
Yeah, no, it's been 6 months of, dog.
Yeah, it's been really, really dire. My boy's 6 months old now and he was born in September. So it's literally from when he was born to now, it's been like deepest, darkest winter. It's been really wet and horrible here in the UK and it has not been very pleasant.
I think you notice it more because I'm not in the boozer every single week. Do you know what I mean? It's like winters. I used to be just in the pub and you don't even notice that it's...
Yeah. Well, it's like sort of nice, isn't it? Like you have a picture in your head, like log fire, all sitting around.
Yeah.
I mean, it never ended that way for me, but I know what you're saying.
But now I'm up and rearing to go on a Saturday morning and it's raining outside. It's like...
Exactly.
I used to actually, this is quite funny. When I used to be at it, I used to like rainy days. I was hungover.
Yeah.
It would like give me a sense of, oh, it's all right because you wouldn't be doing anything anyway.
Yeah, because everyone's staying in.
Exactly.
Everyone's doing it.
Everyone's got the curtains drawn. It's
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
But now rainy days, it's like, do you know what I mean?
I want to get out. Want to get out and about.
And live life.
Yeah.
It's
So
we played golf, didn't we?
we did, mate.
Yeah.
How'd I get on?
He done well. He done well. The
Just
boy.
letting all the listeners know. Yeah, Max is a decent golfer. Plays off 10. I play off like 17. If you don't know about handicap ratings, I'm not going to get into it. He's better than me, but I turned up today.
No, it was good fun. Really good fun. And it's one of my favourite things to do. It really is. But it's more. I love playing the game, but it shuts my head off for 4 hours. I'm able to. I think we real bonded first of all, didn't we? Over and this idea was born on the golf course.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
yeah, it was. But you get that time to actually have a intimate chat with someone
that doesn't involve boozing.
Exactly. Yeah. Bit of friendly competition.
Yeah.
Out in nature. No, it's
nice long walk.
I love it, mate. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for you on so many levels. Good for you physically. It's good for your head. Like I did say to you on the course, it helps if you're playing well because it can be stressful if you keep messing it up every 2 seconds. But it was decent standard of golf today. So I've come away a happy boy.
That's it.
A happy boy.
A free lunch.
And I won lunch. So thanks for that. Appreciate it. And talking about lunch, I was talking to you a little bit earlier on. So I was chatting to someone and it's almost like basically everything we've said on this podcast is all about, our lives are so great now. And they are, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that everything's perfect all the time.
No.
Right? So I've had some real strict discipline in my life over the past, I'd say 6 months since my baby was born. I've like dedicated myself to fitness and getting in the gym and eating well. And all of a sudden, past couple of weeks, my eating has just got out of control.
Yeah, what is that then?
Mate, just a bit of unmanageability around food. Like, it was the first manifestation of this disease for me. I was a little fat kid. I hated it.
Yeah.
Couldn't stop eating, hated being fat, couldn't stop eating. It was like that circle, like that hamster wheel we talk about, you know what I mean? Where I was feeding the problem was becoming, and it was just like going in a circle, snowballing out of control. And it's sort of part of the reason why I wanted to just talk about it on here and just sort of become accountable, because it's like I went and had like a McDonald's, and then a couple of days later I'm like getting pie and mash, and then it was Mother's Day. We went out and I had like 4 pastas at this Italian restaurant. It was like, and a pizza. It was just, it gets a bit off key for me.
That's a pattern for me though, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's a pattern. I'll go uber healthy, stop smoking, like food's on point, going down the gym. And then I don't know what it is. It's normally when I see a bit of an improvement. And then
Definitely.
and then I sort of give myself, you'll be all right. And it's like having one beer.
Give yourself a treat.
One pizza will be all right. And then I'm in a rut. I could be in a rut for a year. That's the thing with me. I could be in a bad eating rut or not going to the gym rut for a year after that.
I can too.
It's the same illness.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's that one is too many, 1,000 never
It's
enough.
like a relapse.
Yeah.
And like you said to me on the golf course, you're like, it's better than sniffing gear every day though, isn't it?
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, it is. It is better than that.
Yeah.
But I've made a commitment to get in shape and be healthy. It's exactly like you said. I showed you a couple of photos. I'm like, I've got myself in good shape.
Looking good.
Right. So now I'm almost where I want to be. So I'm like, I'll treat myself. You can have one.
Yeah.
And
But the key, Chris,
It's
is
a different manifestation of this disease.
the key's finding that middle ground.
Of course it is.
Why do we
Balance.
have to be so militant on the training and then go and binge eat? Why can't we just find that happy
Bit of balance.
3 times a week train, maybe eat a bit dirty on a Friday night?
Yeah.
With me, it's not. It's all or nothing. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
So I'll have one bad meal.
and the sneaky eating's the worst.
Oh, so bad. What did I say to you earlier on? So someone rang me yesterday. I was in Romford. I went and picked up, my boy had a football party. So I went and got him some new boots for his football party, right? And I'm like, oh, that Popeye's chicken's just opened in Romford. Let me go and try that. So I'm in there yesterday, 11 in the morning. They've just opened, and I'm eating Popeye's chicken. My brother rang me and I didn't answer the phone because I didn't want to tell him where I was.
No.
You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to lie and I didn't want to tell him I was eating chicken at 11 in the morning.
From an outsider looking in on that story,
Yeah.
you said you were taking your boy to a football party and buying him new boots. See, that's the gifts of recovery.
There you go.
But you're an addict, so
While I'm out, I'm going to go and feed and try and fix on something that is bad for me
But what I'm trying to say is,
and hide it. That's exactly like you said. The joys and the current manifestation of my disease in one morning.
Yeah.
So it's like,
but don't give yourself a hard time.
I'm trying not to give myself too hard a time, but at the same time, it needs looking at. Because I woke up this morning and I was like, right, okay, come on in. It's Monday. Let's start again. Straight away, I've eaten shit again today, right? Tomorrow's a new day, one day at a time. That's what we say in the program.
But that's that insanity, Will, man. That is like, I have the Sunday night chat every week.
Yeah.
Like, binge all weekend. Everything's, I mean, eating just whatever's in sight, I'll just consume. And then it's good when you got 2 little kids because they never eat their dinner fully, and then you can have like double dinner.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that Sunday night chat, right? Let's start it off as and it's like I've got all the best intentions in the world, and I genuinely want to eat clean and train every day.
And you know you'll feel better.
Yeah, I know. This is what I spoke about it before. Like, your mind's not connected to your body. I truly believe that. And then I drive past McDonald's or whatever it be, and I'm, instead of straight on, I'm indicating left.
We did have a nice McDonald's after golf, though, didn't we?
We did.
But we went in. Like, my order is enough for 2 people, really.
Yeah.
I'm a big guy, granted. For anyone who doesn't know, I am like 6'4", you know what I mean? 16 stone, big bloke. I can handle that amount of McDonald's, but if we add up the calories, that's about a day's intake.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to be in a calorie deficit. So, full disclosure, the reason I'm sharing this is because I want to become accountable to you, Max, to the listeners, and to myself, because I know that I've put in all that hard work and I can undo it in a few short months by falling off the wagon, so to speak.
Yeah.
When it comes to my eating, I'm still training. I went to the gym this morning before we went to golf, so the wheels have not completely come off, but I need to just sort of adjust myself and align myself back on track.
Yeah, when I do anything excessively, though, it gives me that feeling of just wrong. It's not right to be doing this when I'm on my phone too much or I'm eating too much. Do you know what I mean? I'm on
phone's a big one.
YouTube or Instagram far too much. That's a big one for me at the moment. My missus is on my case.
Yeah,
you are
same.
on it too much. I'm going to bed with a headache, waking up with a headache.
What's your screen time looking like?
I don't know. I think I'll turn it off for that very reason.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's but I know it's bad. I know it's bad. And it's just having to get to that point of enough pain to stop doing it. Do you know what I mean? And it's getting there now. My kids are starting to notice it. It's got to that stage. So yeah, I need to put some structure in around it. That's key for me. Do you know what I mean? I'm obviously doing a lot on Instagram due to the podcast and all that sort of stuff, which is great. But I need to put little like between 10 and 12, I'm on my phone and then it goes away. It's like it sounds like I'm a child.
Bit like what we have to do with our kids.
Yeah.
Manage their time.
Because if I don't, mate, it's just constant. It's that little fix.
Yeah.
Instagram's the worst on the reels, man. Like, it's just it
never ends.
Slot machines.
It never ends.
I think to myself, and it could be an hour. It's gone past. Do you know what I mean? I've been sat on the toilet for so long, my legs have gone numb. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
there's a little feature on YouTube if you watch the YouTube shorts.
Right.
Yeah. And you go on your history.
Yeah.
And it will show you all the videos, like the long format videos you've watched.
Yeah.
And then it bunches all the shorts together.
Yeah.
And I've come off there, gone back on, and it's like 751 shorts viewed in one session.
Yeah.
It's only like 10 seconds long, but it's like next. There's something there that I'm pretty sure these guys who have made this feature, like the Instagram guys or the YouTube guys, whatever, It is addictive.
I watched a program. It's like basically the concept was on a slot machine,
Yeah.
and you are waiting for that one video out of 50
That bangs.
which bangs.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
It's
the.
like gambling.
It's like a hit. That's the hit.
Yeah.
Then you're on to the next one.
You're like, oh my God, that one's banging. And then you share that one and then you sieve through 5 or 6 that you don't like.
Shark dressed up as a clown.
Yeah. yeah. I've been waiting for that. I needed that in my life. Yeah.
It's a load of shit, isn't it? But
That's very interesting.
that is.
Yeah, it's true.
There's a Netflix documentary about it, and it's basically based on slot machines.
Oh.
And that's what the scroll's all about. You think about
Yeah. Next.
and then you read
Next. And you're like, oh, that one's good. Let me send that to so-and-so.
But it's not good though, is it?
Who do you send the most memes to?
I don't know really. I'm not. Yeah, I've got a few lads chats and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
But yeah.
I'll send most stuff to my missus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of it's like, you know, like the husband and wife comparisons.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is you. You know what I mean? Or she sends me like, this is you.
Most of the time it's stupid shit like farting in public and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's
yeah.
just
Just
nonsense.
silliness.
It's just nonsense.
Yeah.
But sweet, man.
Yeah, mate. Well, look, nice little catch up. No guest today. I thought we would talk about step 2 and 3.
Step 2 and 3. Yeah, that'd be great, I think.
Yeah, mate. So look,
We had a great response from the Step 1 podcast. Hopefully
We did.
Got a lot out of it, which was great.
and look, step 1 identifies what is the problem.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'm sure you thought, and most people think the problem is the substance.
Yeah.
You got a drug problem, you got a drink problem, you got a gambling problem. We found out in step 1, and I found out through coming into recovery, the problem is I'm powerless over my addiction.
Yeah.
And my life has become unmanageable.
Yeah.
So we need a solution to that problem. And that solution is a power greater than ourselves that can restore us to sanity.
Yep.
And that's what step 2 is. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And it's like we embark on this journey. We're now looking for a power that can come into our lives that is more powerful than our urge, desire, whatever you want to call it, to feed our addiction.
Yep.
And slow process for me.
It's a process. That I was going to say, it is a process. Anyone listening to this thinking, fucking hell, I need to make a decision right now.
Yeah.
What higher power is, and I don't know whether, do you know what I mean? They might be confused as hell. That's why it's written, we came to believe. It's a process. Do you know what I mean? It took me, I think I was in recovery. I was slow to get going on the steps, but it took me, I was open-minded. That's the key. At this stage for me, it's just about being open-minded. You don't need to understand this fully. You just need to be open-minded. And like I said, it's
in some cases, you'll never fully understand it.
No.
It's almost something that cannot be fully understood.
Exactly.
So exactly like you're saying, you ain't got to come in here and be like, okay, that's my higher power.
I've got it.
I've got it. Sweet. I'm fine now forever.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that for me. I came in closed-minded in some ways, open-minded in others. Yeah. I've mentioned it on the podcast before, this statement. I was beaten into a state of reasonableness by the drugs. Yeah. When I came in, I knew I needed something. So my ears were open. I was like, please let there be something. I was begging, hoping that there was something there. So I was willing to believe that there was. I was almost like, well, I don't know, there isn't. And that's enough right now. Maybe.
Yep.
I came in with a big maybe. And after a little while, things started happening. I started staying clean, which I could never do by myself. And someone says to me, you're clean.
Yeah.
Can you stay clean by yourself? And I said, no, I can't.
No.
And I was like, well, what do you think's happened then?
That's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Try and stay clean by yourself.
Try and stay clean by yourself.
Yeah.
I can't stay clean by myself. Okay, well, there must be a power in your life working.
Yeah.
What is that power? For me in the beginning, I put a lot of emphasis on my fellows, people in recovery, other recovering addicts, a group of people all working towards the same goal, which is finding that got a common problem, working towards a common solution, which is staying clean, living clean a day at a time.
Yep.
And I latched onto them people.
Yeah, nice.
Like someone said to me about a power greater than me can literally be me and you sitting here together.
Yep.
Is a power greater than either one of us on our own.
Totally, yeah.
So it's like the therapeutic value of one addict helping another.
Yeah.
And it says that in the literature. It's without parallel because you understand what I know. I understand what you know. and we can come together. When we're together, we're power greater than ourselves. And that's what I latched onto with my sponsor, with other people in the rooms. And yeah, that was the first power that I latched onto. How did you feel when you first come in? Because I know you're a little bit different to me with your concepts.
I think it's hard to think back. Look, be 5 years soon, which is amazing.
Yeah, mate.
And
Incredible.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is, like, I ain't got the best of memories anyway. So, like, for me to give an honest answer, how did I feel when I first came in? I was just clinging on for dear life. Do you know what I mean? At that sort of point, absolutely battered. The last thing I was worried about really is a power greater than myself. That's my honest truth. Yeah. I was just clinging on for dear life. I need to get my wife and my kids back in my life. How the fuck do I do this? Completely at my rock bottom. But what that led into, after coming to meetings and understanding this illness a little bit more, and understanding early on that it's actually, once I put the drink and drug down, I'm still left with me, and I'm the issue, Chris. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think if my take on higher power is the rooms of recovery,
yeah.
anyone that I see in recovery. So if we came to believe that the rooms of recovery could restore us to sanity, and for me, that's where it is at, and that is where it remains at today. I did lots of meetings when I first came in, 90 meetings in 90 days. And through that process, I started to believe, this is what I mean in step 2. It's just came to believe that there might be some sort of power in the rooms of my particular fellowship. When I used to walk out of those rooms, I might walk into those rooms sad, and I'd walk out less sad with a smile on my face, spring in my step. Things are going to be all right. That was the feeling. Things will be all right. And that for me is where it's at. And once I got that, once I understood about that, I've not looked back, really. That is my honest truth. We talk about hope, and I came in hopeless, and the hope that I got in those 90 meetings in 90 days, I've never looked back from there, Chris, really. That's where it is at for me.
And for me, I saw it in other people.
Yeah.
I was broken. I was full of ego, full of ideas, and they all got smashed to bits.
Yeah.
I came in with my mind opened like a blank slate.
Yep.
And there were people in the rooms living life how I wanted to live life.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And we spoke about so many times, I'm not talking about the things they had.
No.
But the way they carried themselves.
Yep.
And the way they were, the demeanor, just like I wanted that. And the fact that when I heard their stories and they were like me and they'd come from similar places to me, and I'm talking about internally, and now they weren't like that anymore. That was the hope for me. I'm like, well, if it's happened to you, and I've heard your story, why can't it happen to me? What did you do? And it's like, let a power into your life.
I came in with a misconception, I suppose, that this is a religious, to be a religious higher power.
Yeah, me too.
And that was just not the case. I think once I got my head around that and stopped looking for it, I suppose, stopped looking for, is it going to appear to me and all that sort of stuff, all this, because I had this preconceived idea of what the higher power was. It came and found me, really. It came and found me. Like you said, 90 meetings in 90 days, one of the most important things I've ever done in my recovery.
Yeah, same.
The hope, and I stay clean for 3 months. Do you know what I mean? And I've been trying for years and years and years on my own to stay clean. So my head said, at that point, I was open to a lot of different ideas, but my head said it needed to be quite simple and basic for me back then. Look, I can't stay clean on my own, but I've been coming to these meetings for 90 days. Sharing my stuff, hearing other people's stories.
And you were 90 days clean.
And I was 90 days clean.
Yeah.
So there must be something in that. There must be a power in there keeping me clean. I just want to talk about control a little bit, because when I came in, like, coming around to the idea of the importance of letting go of control and a trust in a power greater than ourselves, I think is massive, right?
Yeah.
Because when I don't know about you, mate, I can still be very controlling.
Definitely.
And it's got to be my way or the highway. And I came all through my addiction. That was
Yeah, without even consciously thinking I'm doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think we need to, when we come in, just we don't have to do it straight away, but we need to start coming to terms with that, the importance of letting go of that control. Yeah, letting something else into our lives and maybe it will improve our lives.
Yeah.
And that's one of the concepts my sponsor early on said to me. You don't even have to go along with this, but just maybe come to terms with there's something in it. The importance of letting go of control.
Yeah.
I still suffer with that today, letting go of control. I try and take my will back on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But I have to try and tap into this stuff. And we'll come on to step 3, because step 3, you need to be a bit more punchy around that letting go of control and sort of have that leap of faith as such.
Yeah, but the process begins in step 2.
Yeah.
Right? We need to understand that our way don't work.
Yeah.
It's like, get out of the way. Get out of the way. Let go. I heard this old speaker, Sandy Beach, he's called. He was like an old AA guy.
Right.
And he said he could sum this program up in 2 words.
Go on.
Let go.
Yeah.
Just let go. Stop holding on.
Yeah.
It's like, if you go back to them original AA texts, there's a passage in there and it's like, he's like the actor who's trying to control the director, the guy who does the lights, the person who does the music, and he's trying to control everything. And if only everyone would just do it exactly how I want it, everything will be fine. And that's an addict to me. It's like, oh, if he didn't do that, or she didn't do that, or he did do that, I'd be okay.
Yeah.
When it's like, it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing.
Yeah.
The only thing I can control is what is going on with me. And to a certain extent, because I'm an addict, I can't control that anyway.
And that's
because
why
I've tried doing it, it doesn't work.
That gift of desperation, man, for me is so important, because I think without that, I'd still be trying to take control.
Yeah.
That first meeting, I'd still be trying to say, no, that's not right. How
Yeah,
about
yeah.
this way? What about
Yeah,
my
yeah,
way?
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Oh, have you thought about this?
That's not going to work.
I don't believe in that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was so beaten, maybe not physically, but mentally broken, that I was so open-minded about the whole thing. Do you know what I mean? I'm really passionate about this high power stuff, because it means so much to me now, coming up for 5 years clean. Like, I've said it before, I can walk down the road now knowing things will be all right, knowing that recovery's got my back. Anything that comes my way, I know that the rooms of my fellowship have got my back.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful position to be in. Have that. It's like a safety blanket, like being wrapped up in a duvet. It really is, like, mentally, that I know that things will be okay.
It's like having a parachute.
It is.
It's like if you do start falling,
Yeah.
the fellowship's got my back.
It is.
Just pull the cord.
But you got to jump in, right? You got to jump in.
Yeah, you really have. So I came in, I'd say probably a little bit more closed-minded to certain things. I'd grown up with some prejudice towards religion.
Yeah.
And the word God scared me.
Yeah.
And I just want to reiterate, the 12-step fellowship is not religious in any way. It says in our literature.
Yeah.
Regardless of age, race, religion, sexual identity, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. I had some preconceived ideas about the church and the word God, and I came in and I saw the word God in the literature, and I started hearing about this sort of stuff, and obviously I was confronted with it pretty early on, step 2, and I met it with resistance. I did. It was just like my back got up straight away. Like we've already sort of touched. I knew I had to come to believe because I had to stay clean, because if I didn't, I was going to die.
Did you ever pray in active addiction?
Well, this is what I was getting onto. I thought I had all these preconceived ideas, but when I actually think back, so I lost my best mate when I was like 11 years old. He got hit by a car and he died, and it was really sad. And I had loads of other stuff going on, some guilt and some shame around it, because like towards the end of his life, I'd started being a little bit horrible to him. And all that stuff is like the early manifestations of this disease. My head was confused. I didn't know what was going on. I was trying to sort of, bit of power and control, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Be out of order to someone to make me feel big.
Yeah.
Right? And then he got hit by this car and died. Right? And I felt so much shame and guilt because I loved him. You know what I mean? Anyway, after he passed, I was still talking to him, and I had like a photo of me and him in my room, and I was like talking to someone, sort of talking to someone's spirit.
Yeah.
That was one instance, right? Then I lost my nan, and I found myself doing the same thing.
Right.
And I was like, but you know they're gone, you went to the funerals.
Yeah.
So why are you still talking to them?
Yeah.
That was like a little part of my mind was opened.
Yeah.
And then one story that I love to tell, so I was in treatment. I was probably 2 weeks clean at this point, about halfway through my month in treatment. And there was a guy in there, Trunate, just an absolute sweetheart, this bloke. Hated him when he first come in, by the way, when he was raw, when he first come off the street. Within a few days, just such a gentleman, absolute gentleman. And he's still clean now as well. So he was a Muslim, right? Turkish guy. And it was like bedtime. They turned the telly off at a certain time. You weren't allowed to just sit up and watch telly. There was a bit of structure to it. And I was going off to my room. He was going to his room. And I was like, what are you doing now? And he's like, oh, I'm going to pray. And I was like, oh, okay, sweet. Went back to my room. His room was right opposite mine. So I've like walked into my bedroom. And I turned around, knocked on his door. And I was like, do you mind if I come in and like do it with you?
Yeah, no.
And he's like, yes, sweet. So I've like done the ritual, washed my hands, washed my face. You wash your nose, your feet. And then I knelt down next to him. I didn't know what I was doing. No. He said his prayers and I did what he did. And at the end of it, he was like, nice. And I was like, sweet. And went back to my bedroom. I didn't convert to Islam.
No, that's it in a nutshell then.
I wanted, he had faith and it worked for him to a certain degree. I was open-minded enough to sit down and do it with him. It gives me goosebumps thinking about it now.
Yeah.
I told someone that story when I come out of treatment and I was in the dry house and he went to me, that's open-mindedness.
That is, yeah. And
I was like, oh, fuck, it is open-mindedness.
I went to quite a religious primary school and one side of my family is really religious. And, but the only times that I used to pray was, I remember it so vividly. Like, it's amazing what you remember when you were using, and why you remember it. Are these things more important than others? I would pray that, say I'd been out for 2 days or whatever, or I'd done something stupid, or I'd let someone down. I'd pray like my life was a movie, and I could just I'd wake up in the morning and start again.
Yeah.
It's like none of it would ever happen.
How old do you think you were here?
No, this is
towards the end.
Yeah.
Really?
I like along that. Just please make it, because I didn't want to do those things, right?
Yeah.
And I'd just been completely consumed by my illness. And once you put one inside me, I don't stop until I fall over.
Yeah.
But that's that one that causes the damage. But I remember it all the time. I used to just pray and just say, please let me wake up and it'll be cushy, or I might have had a big do the next day and completely fucked it. Do you know what I mean? And because I got in at 5 a.m, meant to be up at 7, and it was just so. Even then, I was in touch with something. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And so it was all. I know,
even if it's like selfish praying, because you hear it all the time. Like, oh, get me out of this one. I'll never do that again.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
That sort of stuff. Yeah.
Them sort of prayer, but nonetheless, you're still subconsciously acknowledging that there might be something there. Yeah. Which is all we need in step 2. So funny, you just got me thinking. So when I was a kid, right, I had all these like facial twitches. I used to have like tics, right? I don't know if I mentioned it on here before. And another thing that I used to do, I was like a little firebug. I think fire was like an addiction for me when I was a kid. I loved it. Matches and playing with fire. Thank God I never burnt anything down or burnt myself. You know what I mean? Because for a little while, I was like all over it. Anyway, I remember I was in South Africa visiting my family, and my twitches and my tics was really flaring up. Must have been 10. Might have coincided with the death of Kyle, actually, which is maybe sort of like probably why my tics were sort of had upped a little bit, because it was a bit of trauma. Yeah. Thinking about the timeline, that does make sense. But I remember I was laying in this hotel we were staying in, and I was like, please let these tics go away. Yeah. And I remember saying, like, bargaining with God or whoever I was praying to. I was like, I'll even stop setting fire to things if you remove these tics. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's how much I love saying. I was like, you can have that if you please get rid of this. And that's like probably the first time I prayed.
Yeah, mad.
Mad, isn't it? How you remember these things?
I think the message is, like, I've got written down here, overcoming doubts. Like, I think if there's anyone listening and they are like, Stonewall, nah, mate, you boys are talking absolute shite. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that there is, when you come into recovery, there's a lot of people that think like that, right?
Yeah, part of me thought that.
Very scared of that higher power, that God word. What my message would be, just don't worry about it. Even if you don't believe, stay open-minded. Don't rule it out. Yeah. Do not rule it out. Do 90 meetings in 90 days, then come and have a conversation with me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Goes. Because after I did my 3 months, those 90 meetings in 90 days, things had changed dramatically in my life.
Yeah.
My missus was talking to me again. I was able to see my kids. I was 3 months without using. I was 3 months without lying. Do you know what I mean? Big fundamental things in my life, which on my own, Chris, I could not do.
Yeah.
Do you know
So
what I mean?
there's some proof.
There's proof there. Just please do not rule it out. You don't need to fully commit in step 2. You don't. You just don't need to rule it out.
Exactly. And look, I think that is probably someone coming in that doesn't know what it is. That is all you've literally got to do.
Yeah.
Just don't be anti.
There's something in this.
Yeah.
Just think there's something in recovery, because that's all you need.
And if you're not seeing it all around you, go to a different meeting, because I saw it everywhere.
I did.
I saw it everywhere.
He's got his kids back in his life. Then someone else would share. He's 15 years clean. Why? Because he's come into recovery. He's committed to the program, and then she'd be 15 months clean. He'd be. I mean, I saw it early on. These people were putting their lives back together because they came to these meetings. They were doing step work. They were speaking to the sponsor. They were getting involved. They were connecting to a higher power. And that's how my belief system, I mean, I saw it working for them, so it can work for me.
Yeah.
That's it. There it is.
And that's all this stuff is.
You don't need
One
to
guy
believe
got
them.
it, he gave it to someone else. The pair of them went and looked for other people, and so on and so forth. It's like it just snowballed. Oh, I love going back into the history of this stuff and just seeing there was nothing. Addicts, alcoholics were dying.
Yeah.
Left, right and centre.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, shout out Bill Wilson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, this is not even 100 years old.
No, it's
1934.
Yeah.
1934.
Madness.
Before that, no one knew what to do.
No.
Literally no one knew what to do. So there was a guy called Roland Hazard. And Roland Hazard was going to inherit this huge company from like a well-to-do family, this guy. And he was the heir to the throne of this company. And his dad was like, this kid ain't fit to take over the company. He needs sorting out. So they sent him to, have you heard of Carl Jung?
Yeah.
The psychologist,
Yeah.
right? So basically the way it gets explained is this guy was the number one human power when it came to fixing people's minds.
Right, okay.
Right? This guy Roland Hazard goes to live and be treated by Carl Jung for a year.
Yeah.
Moves to Switzerland.
Yeah.
After a year, he's like, I've done everything I can for you.
Yeah.
He made it to Paris before he was pissed.
Yeah.
So that is the best human power
Yeah.
in the world at the time.
Yeah.
He went back and he was like, what can I do? And he was like, I've done everything I can do for you. However, I have known some people, in your case, this is before any of these fellowships exist, where some people have allowed spiritual principles into their life and they've recovered.
Yeah.
So he's like, no human power is going to fix him. He knows that.
Mm.
So he has to go and look for a higher power. And he stayed clean.
Madness.
So it's like, when you go back and look at this stuff, it's like, that's just an example of my life. I tried it.
Yep.
I tried going to counselors. I tried going to doctors. I tried taking medication.
Yep.
I tried all these things on my own until I even just acknowledged that there was a higher power in my life that could do it for me. When I did that, my life changed.
Amazing, man. There's another story, Chrissy, which is very similar to the one you just told. It's about, I don't know if you've heard it before. There's a guy, and he's due to go away on holiday, and I think something tragic happens in his life, and he goes to the airport, and I think he's got multiple years clean
Right.
in a fellowship, and he's at Heathrow or whatever, and he's sitting there, and you've got the 24-hour bars, haven't you? And he's got this stuff going on, got a lot of life stuff going on, and he's thinking, shall I use, shall I not use? And I think his head's saying use, obviously. And then he goes over to the help desk, right?
Yeah.
In the airport. And he says, can you put out a call on the tannoy for anyone in a fellowship to, because he needs to speak to someone, right?
Yeah.
So they put the call out on the tannoy. I think it was Friends of Bill Wilson.
Okay.
I think that was the call, or the secret call. I might be getting
Yeah. Is there a friend of Bill here?
Is there a friend of Bill?
Yeah.
Cut a long story short, suddenly there's 15 people surrounding this guy. They have a mini meeting in the middle of the airport.
Mate, that is so good.
Geezer stays clean, gets on the plane. Yeah.
Mate,
Yeah.
how unbelievable is that?
Yeah. It gives me
I've
little
never
goose-
heard, yeah, me too.
goosebumps.
I'm chilled
yeah.
up.
I've
That-
already
I've
told
never
it
heard that
completely wrong, but that's the concept of it, right?
Yeah.
I can't, we can. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And that goes back to that, them people that come and helped him, by doing that, that kept them clean.
Yeah.
That's how this works.
But didn't they, I think I might have that wrong again, but didn't, they were all in the hospital, the booze hospital where they were struggling together and they were on medication, etc. And then at lunchtimes, they would break bread and have their lunch and have chats. And they realised by having the conversations, the alcoholics.
Yeah. So the way it worked was, so Bill Wilson is like AA number one.
Yeah.
Right? He has got about 6 months clean.
Yeah.
He's trying to get people clean. So there's this thing called the Oxford Group, which takes this stuff back to what we're talking about now, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, it's not religious, but all this stuff comes from like first century Christian beliefs,
Yeah.
right? They had these absolutes, like absolute honesty, you know what I mean? Absolute loyalty. And he tweaked it so it works for us. So it's not like you have to do this. It's like, we suggest you do this because he knows us, right? So anyway, he's clean for about 6 months. And he says to his missus, he's like, no matter who I've worked with, I can't keep anyone clean. And she says, you're still sober.
Mm.
And he's like, fuck yeah, I am. I am still sober. Then he goes to do a deal. Sorry if I'm butchering this story, but I've heard it a few times. I think this is pretty accurate. So he goes to do a deal in Akron, Ohio. He's from New York, right? Which is where AA starts, by the way, Akron. So he's doing a deal. The deal falls through. He's at a hotel. It's called the Mayflower Hotel. He can hear the sounds of the bar, the glasses clinking. He's thirsty, mate. The deal's just gone through. He's basically fucked. He's got like $10 on him, which is enough for a train ticket home, or he can go and get mashed up in the bar.
Yeah.
In them days, you could do well on a tenner, basically. He's like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? He sees a phone. He goes over to the phone, gets the phone book out, and starts calling people to find someone from the Oxford Group, which was like it was like basically the original fellowship. It was people living by these first century Christian techniques. He said, I need a drunk. They call him the drunk squad of the Oxford Group. He's like, I need a drunk. They're like, sorry, no one's here. Sorry, no one's here. Sorry, no one's here. He's like literally made 10 or 15 phone calls. He's like, right, one more. Makes the call, gets through to Bob, who is AA number 2, Dr. Bob. Gets through to his wife. She's like, come and see him now. He goes and sees the bloke's like, I'll see you for 15 minutes. He stays there for 4 hours. They get chatting. Bob did relapse one more time, but he stayed clean and they started AA.
Yeah, amazing.
You know what I mean? So it's from him knowing that he needed to go and work with someone else because his missus said to him, no, you're still clean.
Two's more powerful than one.
Two's more powerful than one. And that was it. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a little bit different now. Like Bob went out and made amends that week and, you know what I mean, cracked on. But it goes back to that old stuff. He was a drug addict as well.
Yeah, man. Right. I think that's good on step 2. Obviously, that is not everything you need to know about step 2. But
of course not. It's just a little general overview.
So step 3, we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. So my take on that is, Chrissy, because obviously my higher power is the rooms of recovery. So we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of the rooms of recovery as we understood them.
Yeah.
So for me, we talked about control in step 2. And just to have that as an idea of the surrendering of your control, in step 3, we need to fully surrender that control.
Yeah.
We need to fully commit to this program.
This is the thing. If you actually read the words, all we have to do is make a decision.
Yep.
We haven't actually got to do anything. We've just got to be like, okay, you can have it. I love the step 3 prayer. I use the more modern version. Take my will in my life, guide me in my recovery, show me how to live.
Yeah, man.
And that just encompasses it for me. I was struggled with the wording. I couldn't remember it when I first come in. I had a photo of me and my son and the text written across the top of it on my screensaver on my phone, just as a constant reminder to hand it over.
It's acknowledging our efforts alone don't work. We just discussed that in length, didn't we?
Yeah.
But I think in step 3, we need to start understanding that there can't be any doubt that's what I'm trying to say. We need to have full faith that me alone, Max alone, I can't do this. I don't stay clean. And I think that's one of the big commitments, I'd say, in step 3 to we need to get a real grasp on that. Step 2, we can flower around it and just have some sort of understanding that there might be something in it. Step 3 is a bit more formal. Let's crack on for me.
Of course it is. And look, it's like, this is the first time where really you're encouraged to start praying. start trying to get that connection with that power, right? Because I know we say, yeah, it's the rooms, but at the same time, I was encouraged basically from about this point, start saying a few little prayers. I didn't know what I was praying to. I'm not praying to Jesus Christ or Buddha or any specific religion. It's like a God, a higher power of my understanding. And even if I didn't understand it, it was almost like something. I mean, you've only got to look up. Like, I'm looking out that window now. How powerful that is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just this universe we're in. Like, that's a power greater than me.
Yeah.
I'm like a tiny little insignificant dot on this planet. Yeah. So I've only got to look around me to see power. And I pray to that. It's like a little bit of humility. They tell you to, like, if you want to make it a little bit more powerful, get on your knees and pray. That's an action. Rather than just, oh no, I'll just do it laying down in bed. It's like, it's going to have a little bit more weight. If you physically stand up, get down on your knees and pray to something, it's like an act of humility.
Yeah.
And it's a practice. It's a practice, right? It's like a meditation practice or a yoga practice. You're not going to be good at it straight away. It's like we was talking about with golf. You don't just pick up a golf club and you're good at it straight away.
No.
You have to practice.
Yeah, of course.
You have to do it. You have to do it badly for a while until you get the hang of it. And it's just been like that for me with prayer. Most of it was just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Do it.
Even if I don't believe it, even if I'm not fully committed to it, do it anyway.
Yeah.
And after a while, it becomes second nature and I find comfort in it.
Yeah, if I don't do my prayer in the morning now, I feel off key. I really do. And my prayers now, it's a very personal. It's like a conversation for me now. I know people get on their knees and pray, and that's all. Whatever your setup is in the morning or whenever you pray. For me, I do it walking my dog down on the beach when I'm out with nature, and I just have a conversation about my day. How am I feeling today? And I am praying for normally other people. People that are suffering or people people that are struggling. I'm praying for people that might have even wronged me in the past, Chris. And I think
that's even better.
There's a lot of power in that. And also if I've got like a big meeting coming up, I'm not praying that I win the deal. I'm praying for just let me be the best version of myself today. Or the one I'm doing at the moment is give me the opportunity to be kind today, not pray for kindness or pray for whatever it is, confidence. Give me the opportunity to be kind. Give me the opportunity to be caring and confident, or whatever it would be is going on for you. There's a lot of power in that. Key is when that opportunity comes up, just try and take it. I don't take it every time, obviously. But
of course not, mate. We're human beings.
No, but I think it's a real... Like I said, it's not a get down on my knees and make my life the best. That's not my style. My style is just having a conversation.
And it's your own particular brand of whatever works for you.
Exactly.
And that is good. For me, personally, I don't get on my knees in the morning.
No.
I don't. I just lay there and I say it. In the beginning, when I was trying to get this stuff, someone suggested that to me. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. When I was in the dry house, every morning without fail, I hit my knees.
Action.
And I prayed.
Yeah.
Because it was that action.
Yeah.
What can I do to give myself a better chance?
Especially if you've got a little bit of doubt at the start as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's do this by the book.
I felt ridiculous.
Yeah.
I felt ridiculous when I did it. I heard of someone that used to go to the bathroom, put a towel against the bottom of the door just in case someone was peeking through because they were ashamed of what they were doing.
Yeah.
Even though they're there trying to better themselves.
I've got a mate of mine who does it in the shower. He calls it the power shower in the morning.
There you go.
Honestly. Has a little prayer up in the shower just to set him up for the day and
Whatever
get him out
works.
and whatever works.
Whatever works.
It's
And look, that self-will's a killer because I take it back constantly.
Yeah.
Like I discussed about the food. That is self-will. No one's putting that food in my mouth.
In step 2, Chrissy, obviously we talk about hope, and in step 3, the hope turns into faith, doesn't it? And have faith that things will improve. And I think you can't do a 2 without a 3 because you can't have you can't have faith without hope. Like in step 2, I saw the hope in the rooms. It gave me that hope that people's lives were improving. Now in step 3, I've got to have faith that my life will improve.
Yeah, trust the process.
Trust the process. And that's a big step for me. And really, by maintaining my program and doing the action stuff that's been taught to me, the prayer, the meditation, asking for help, leave that ego at the front door. It's okay to ask for help was a big one for me. Right? That was a big part of step 3 that I was full of ego and pride. And really, I think step 3 is all about making that step and that leap of faith. And that leap of faith might be asking another grown man how to do things. You know what I mean? In your head, you think, I shouldn't have to ask him that. But you just have the faith that program will have your back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's
and this is it. The pride and the ego doesn't like it when we get spiritual.
no.
It's like the opposite of what that wants. That wants us running on self-will, full of ego, controlling behavior. When you apply the opposite spiritual principles to ego and pride, that's when you're living in faith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're believing in something that's holding you and you're handing your will over to it.
Now we've handed our will and our life over to our higher power, right? We thought that we were on this road that had been written for us when we were in active addiction. We were only going down one road, which for me was being very fucking selfish, only looking out for myself and just trying to fixing myself with external stuff. But the road was, right, what can we do to make Max happy, basically? Then I come into recovery and I learn about hope and I learn about faith and I learn about serenity and I learn about caring for others. And suddenly my pathway, my road has changed direction.
Yeah.
Right? That was a big thing for me in step 3, that because I had faith in this program, it was like with your sponsees, man. Do you know what I mean? If we want to take back 4 years, I don't think that you'd be thinking that you're going to be helping other people and your pathway had changed. Do you know? Am I making myself?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
definitely. My path's completely changed. And look, I don't think it's necessarily just addicts. I think society in general is geared up to, it's like, what's that saying? Nice guys finish last. You know what I mean? You help yourself before you help others and all that.
Yeah.
And it's almost like that capitalist way of looking at life. It's like, no, you take care of number one.
Yeah.
And that was my thinking. Yeah. And I was like, okay, that's the path I'm on. That's what I want.
But what I'm saying is by going to the treatment center, by going to the dry house, by getting into recovery, your life has changed direction.
Massively.
That's because you've handed your will and your life over to a higher power.
Yeah.
It's gone from, right, all I'm gonna do is worry about how Chris is, what Chris is feeling like, selfish,
what can Chris
selfish.
Get? Yeah.
You've handed your will and your life over and it's taken a completely
different path. Now, the thing that gives me the most joy, pleasure, happiness in my life is being of service. When I'm out of self and into service, I feel the best I possibly can. Does that mean I'm doing it all the time and the ego doesn't pop up and I don't think, oh, that's a nice pair of trainers, let me get them, even though I don't need trainers? Of course it does. Yeah. It happens a lot. Like, to go back to the thing that I'm talking about in a minute, I'm fixing on, I'm eating too much, or like I bought these that I got on my feet and I bought 2 pairs. I bought one in this color and I bought one in another color because I it's like, I don't need them.
No.
I don't need them.
No.
That gives me a split second of what I feel is it's pleasure. It's not happiness. Yeah. It gives me a little bit of pleasure. When I'm handing my will over, I'm living by spiritual principles, I'm getting out of self and into service, that is happiness. Yeah. That's serotonin. The shoes is dopamine. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. When I understand the difference between pleasure and happiness, it's about getting out of self. Yeah. It's all about getting out of self.
And let's get it right. So we've handed our will and our lives over to a higher power that's greater than ourselves, which is fantastic, and it can change our path, which is fantastic. It can it's made me a better person. It's made me less selfish. However, do you know what I mean? That this higher power does not run our lives. We have certain limitations as human beings, both mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And I think the higher power for me, it helps me in my daily life. It's not the only thing that runs my life, Chris. You know what I mean? I think we need to make that clear.
Of course it's not. Yeah. What does it say? Your higher power is not going to do anything for you that you can do for yourself.
No, exactly.
That's exactly what you was just saying. It's like, you hand it over, but it's not just going to run your life.
No, we've got personal responsibilities to live life and look after our families. But when it gets to a point, so if I'm having a row with someone or I've an issue at work, so I would tap into my sponsor, Power Greater myself. What do you think about this, John? But I've got that far. I've had the row. I've got myself into that situation. So it's that I've got certain limitations in certain areas, which then I need to tap into my higher power for assistance on. Right?
Of course,
asking for that help.
Plus, it's always good to run it by someone.
Yeah.
I heard a good story. It's like, oh, my higher power told me that there's this Puerto Rican lady and I should move in with her and leave my wife and kids. It's like, you should probably check with your sponsor first. You know what I mean? Because that might actually be your ego, not your higher power talking. Like, use all the tools available to us.
Yeah.
Use all of them.
And fundamentally, it's an action step. So how do we hand our will and our lives over? For me, we have to show action. We have to show, and service is a big one for me. We have to become part of this program.
Yeah.
If we want to have this faith and have this, like we said, walking down the road with the pink fluffy cloud around us, it doesn't just come to us. We need to be involved. It's an action step. So that will involve doing service and getting and being part of. That will involve prayer. That will involve speaking to our sponsors. That will involve step work to enable us to get that faith. Do you know what I mean? If we're sitting idle, sitting in step 2, just on that hope, is this going to have my back? Just jump in, get that. It's an action step.
Of course it is. It's like if you lock yourself in a cupboard and pray for food, you're going to starve to death.
Yeah.
You got to go out and get it.
Yeah.
You got to go out and get it. And there's so much to be had. It's like we can't do it on our own, but your higher power can't do it on his own either, or her own. Whatever your understanding of that higher power is there's action involved. Get up, get moving, walk around, go and do things.
Yeah.
Aligned with your higher power's will, that's when things start happening.
Yeah, I suppose it's what I said at the start when I pray for an opportunity to be kind. It takes the action to be kind. When the opportunity arises, right?
Yeah, it's like, here's your opportunity, mate.
That's it.
Do it.
Yeah.
Or
I want to be healthier. Do you know what I mean? Pray, give me the opportunity to be healthier. Well, you need there's action involved there to do it, right? And I think that's what we're trying to say is, it's a beautiful thing to have this undeniable faith that recovery is going to keep me clean. But we need to action to make sure it happens.
Of course we do. Yeah. Like next time I go to Tesco's when I'm doing my meal preps, go to the healthy aisles.
Yeah.
Stay away from the other aisles, because it was like, I'll be all on it, and then it's like, I'll have one of them. And then a couple of weeks later, I'll have 2 of them. Before you know it, I'm in the position I am now where I'm having to re-surrender. I know what needs to be done. My higher power will show me the way. If I want to stay in pain, keep doing what I'm doing. If I want to be free of it, action it.
Yeah. There's a paradox in recovery, Chrissy, right? Let me get this one. So we have to surrender to our higher power, to the program, and then we can get a sense of freedom and liberation from addiction and self-will. I just think that's a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah.
We surrender, we hand it over to our higher power, and then the gold at the end of the rainbow is a sense of freedom and liberation from addiction and self-will. And I've had that process, right? I've been running my whole life on self-will. Max can do it. Max can keep himself clean. Max can be the best father. Max can be the best husband. And it all ends in absolute tears. As soon as I hand my will and my life over to my higher power and go, here you go, mate. Just help me out. Do you know what I mean? Help me out. I put action in. I go to meetings, I get myself a sponsor, I do service, I get connected to this program, all of which is my summing up of higher power. I can be this person that I've always wanted to be. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because
you probably didn't even know you wanted to be.
Been fighting for so long.
Yeah.
The fight is over. Once we surrender, we can have the freedom.
Yeah.
That's fucking madness.
And then we win. Once we give up, we win.
We win.
Mad, ain't it? That's the paradox.
So for me, like, hopefully that's given you guys an understanding of step 2 and 3.
The fact that it's not black and white.
Yeah.
It's really not. There's no instruction manual.
No.
So to speak. Go through the work. It's a process. It's a practice. You keep doing it. You change. Things happen in your life.
I think in step 2, just be open-minded. And if you're open-minded enough, you will see that hope. Once you see that hope, you can grab that faith. And trust me, once you've got that faith, there is no looking back.
Yeah. And look, in step 3, it's not even like you've got to tell you, well, you've just got to make a decision. You just got to make a decision to do it.
Yeah.
You're not actually doing anything. It's like baby steps.
And once we say the foundation steps in recovery are 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. I'm fucked in 1, my life's unmanageable. 2, there's something else in this. I'm going to be open-minded around it. And 3, I'm going to make that decision and give this stuff a go. And then we work through the rest of the steps. 4 and 5, we can clean out all the rubbish that we've done in our lives that's been keeping us out there using and feeling shit about ourselves.
Yeah.
6 and 7, we can look at our defects and our assets. 8 and 9, we get to say sorry and make some amends. And then 10, 11, 12, we can live in those. That's how we our maintenance steps, that we just live and enjoy life like we've always wanted.
This is it. We're into the meat and potatoes of it now, mate. We're going to be talking about step 4 and 5 next, which is like scary, but beautiful, beautiful, beautiful process. One of the best things I've ever done. I know you've got some great experiences around it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be
and I'm looking forward to getting into it.
Yeah.
So look, guys, we've come to the end of the time. Hopefully that gives you some sort of an understanding of what step 2 and 3 are. Great catching up, Max.
Yeah, go check us out on Instagram, please, guys. It really helps us. That's Addicted to Recovery Podcast, Addicted to Recovery Podcast. And I will see you next time.
Fantastic. Cheers. Well, look, we're thinking about doing a little Q&A. Maybe putting some polls out. I want to get you guys involved. This has become a nice little community. We're really proud of it. Thanks so much, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.